Hi everybody, it's Gina. I just want to let you know that I'm super proud of you for having the courage to come this far, because this week we're up to step 6 and 7, and by now if you have done a thorough 4th step and chose to discuss that with somebody else, your 5th step, we turn back to the book because it says this: returning home, we find a place where we can be quiet for an hour, carefully reviewing what we've done. We thank God from the bottom of our heart that we know Him better. Taking this book down from our shelf, we turn to the page which contains the 12 steps. Carefully reading the first 5 proposals, we ask if we have omitted anything, for we're building an arch through which we shall walk a free man at last. Is our work solid? Are the stones properly in place? Have we skimped on the cement put into the foundation? Have we tried to make mortar without sand? And if you can answer those questions with satisfaction, we're ready to look at step 6. And step 6 says we're entirely ready to have God remove all these defects of character. Well, there's the challenge. We're entirely ready. They emphasize willingness as being the key, and this is a process, not an event. The keystone is that now we're no longer running the show. We're going to let God be God, and putting all of the weight on God is the cornerstone, and letting God be God is the keystone. And the challenge is, are we now ready to let all of these defects of character go? So we've uncovered, discovered, and discarded what no longer serves us. And we can admit that self defeated us. And for me, that was the gamble that I took. When I walked in, I was willing to let go. It was all or nothing for me, because I was just feeding my defects of character. And the defects are fuel for the obsession of the mind. The great obsession is that one more of anything is going to be a good idea, and it's not. And we know today that our old ideas are plain insane. Insanity would be doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. And at this point, I damn well knew them. And then we're going to look at step 7, which says we humbly asked Him to remove our shortcomings. And by now we know that shortcomings is just another word for defects of character. And what it really does is it emphasizes step 6. We evaluated the nature of our shortcomings, and they're usually traced back to pride, which is a moral defect. Remember, it's selfishness and self-centeredness, that's the root of all our problems. So prideful would be, I want when I want it, and I want it now. And how do we let go of that? How do we become selfless and self-sacrifice? It's through humility. And we show our need today through God. We get our foundation of humility through the choice of the will of God. So in step 7, we were able to look at our character defects and actually put a name to them. And we've done a few. We know that hypocrisy would be deceitful or pretending. And we looked at the synonyms, which would be artificial, false, fishy, two-faced. And now that we're aware of them, sometimes they can become glaring. And we also looked at the antonyms, which would be actual, authentic, forthright, honest, real, reliable, truthful. And now we get to practice doing the opposite. So we have off the beam, and now we want to be on the beam. So if you're dishonest, which is lying or untruthful, sneaky, deceiving, cheating, two-faced, untrustworthy, well, now we get to practice the opposite. We're going to be fair and honest and trustworthy. And if you're inconsiderate, insensitive to others, if you're careless or intolerant, unthinking, ungracious, impolite, now we're going to practice being considerate and polite and generous and kind, sensitive and thoughtful. If you practice conceit, an excessive thought or favorable opinion of one's own self, usually you have self-doubt or uncertainty about yourself, and now we get to practice self-worth and self-trust and self-satisfaction. And if you live in fear, that's an unpleasant emotion caused by a belief that something or somebody is going to be dangerous or cause pain to you. And that would bring upon anxiety or despair, doubt, uneasy, worry. And now we get to practice faith, fear, love, trust. These steps, 6 and 7, maybe they're the most important 2 steps in the whole big book, and they're literally given 2 paragraphs in the whole big book. And for me, I get to practice these all the time. With every passing step that I do with new girls, I get a growth and understanding, and new stuff pops up, and I get to practice the opposite all the time. The hardest thing to do is to practice these principles in all your affairs and then go home and be a different person. And so, having said that, at home would be the hardest place to practice it. Anyway, I'd like to go further. Next week we'll look at steps 8 and 9. And I just want to let you know that I love you so much. And if you have any questions, please write them down and we'll talk about it and discuss it. Other than that, once again, I think you guys are awesome, and I look forward to working with you again soon. Have a great day.